Hey there, happy Monday and Merry Christmas. I am so excited to be back, you guys. It's been a couple weeks, but here I am right before the Christmas season. Man, it's been busy and there's been a lot of AI news, so I'm really excited to get into our session tonight. There's going to be a couple of things that I intend to play with, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm so excited to be back. So excited to be here with you guys. If this is your first time joining us this evening, welcome. This session is meant for you, whether you are a newbie or whether you're somebody who's been investing for a while or somebody who's been in business for a while. If you want to learn more about AI from the perspective of somebody who has been in software engineering for over 11 years now, somebody who's been following AI and played with a little bit over time, then this session is for you. So anyways, I am here to be able to answer any questions that you might have. We're going to, typically the way we do this is we go over some AI news that has come up in the last week or so. Since it's been a couple weeks, there's a little bit more to cover. Then what we do is I kind of go back and forth and look to see if there's any new questions in the chat. I also have a link there in the chat currently. If you have a question that's a little bit longer that won't really fit into the chat on YouTube or Facebook, then you're welcome to go to that link and submit your longer question there. I go back and I check that in a spreadsheet that data comes in live. So I go back and forth and check that throughout the session. There's one more kind of special thing that's going on aside from looking at some AI news, maybe looking over some tools and things like that I think are useful for businesses and for investors. Right now what we're doing is a giveaway of Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Money Models. It says on the screen there, you can see about 6:30 p.m. Central Time, roughly. We go over that sometimes. Sometimes I'm like an hour in these sessions. The point is that we do this at the very end. And so this is a giveaway I've been doing for a while now, every live session. If you want a chance to win this book, and this is a physical book, this is not a digital book. So if you want a chance to win a physical copy of Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Money Models, then what I would do is I would go ahead and submit your entry into the giveaway link. Now I'm posting that in YouTube and Facebook chats. You can see those there. That is a unique link, and it is only available during the live stream. So if you come back at a later time and you submit your information there, I'll see your information come in, but you're not going to be entered in the giveaway. I only do these during the live stream. So you have to come during the live stream, enter your name in, and then stick around to the end to see whether or not you won. And then I send you out an email with the link for you to redeem your copy. Now, just, you do have to pay for the shipping on this thing. So it's like $5. I'm not making any money off of it. I've pre-purchased the book, and it's just a free resource that I'm giving away as a part of this live stream. I only have 9 copies left, though, to give away during these live streams. So if you want a chance to win one of those 9 remaining copies that I have left, go ahead and submit your information inside of that form that I have linked in the chat below on YouTube and Facebook. All right, so we'll cover that at the end. As always, if nobody enters, then we'll roll over the 9 to the next one. Let's go ahead and get into our session for the day. I'm really pumped about this. So typically the way we do this is we hit 3 of the main sources for AI news out there, at least some of the big names, the big players out there. Honestly, there is so much AI news out there, I can't cover it all. If I tend to see something that I think is particularly interesting, I might go over that, but there you go. So let's go ahead and get into it. Our first article for today, this is a big announcement, and this is, I think, just for me, I just wanted to say to the guys at OpenAI, congratulations, y'all. They've been at this for 10 years now. And this is wild because we really haven't heard, I think most people hadn't heard really much about OpenAI really until the last couple of years. and when they first announced ChatGPT. But they've been at this for a very long time. A little bit after I started in software development, and they were making huge progress in research, and so I kind of am familiar with a little bit of the stuff that they did early on. But man, they've worked their butts off, and it paid off. So now we're all getting to enjoy the benefits of their work. So congratulations to all of you at OpenAI. This is fantastic that you guys have been going 10 years now, and you have the results you have because you stuck to it. So let's move on to our next article here. So OpenAI announced that they co-founded the Agentic AI Foundation under the Linux Foundation. And I know, some of this sounds maybe a little geeky for some folks, but it's important just so you kind of know, like, even if you're you're a non-technical person and you just are interested in your business, investing, or whatever it is that you're doing, it's kind of important to know a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes because it helps you kind of project where things are headed. So OpenAI co-founded this Agentic AI Foundation under the Linux Foundation. The Linux Foundation is basically an organization where a lot of like open source type of software or initiatives are grouped under, and it's intended to be like a place where things can be shared among more than just a single company. So you can share it broadly as a set of standards across industries in the tech space. So they are adopting OpenAI's Agents MD. There's a couple of other individuals that are involved in this. So they're trying to push for more open standards. This Agents MD is a file. It's like a text file, basically, that when you spin up these agents, it kind of just gives them their initial instructions on how to operate. And so this kind of sets standards for more of these AI agents that people will be using day to day in the future. And I like to think of these as like little AI employees, right? And you're kind of just giving them their instructions, their SOPs or whatever that they need to be able to do their job well. So they're participating in this. They're donating this. This really, it's mostly a naming scheme, and they're just kind of doing that so that way different like model providers like Anthropic or Google or whatever, they all kind of adopt the same standard here. And even beyond those three, there's so many other companies that are doing their own models. So this is kind of like the standard that's being defined here. Along the same lines here, Anthropic is donating has donated their model context protocol and helped establish this Agentic AI Foundation. So they're also participating. And the reason this is important is because this last year, really, about a year ago, is when they first announced this MCP, or Model Context Protocol. And this is what has pushed forward in this last year a lot of like tool calling or service calling from these AI models. So think of some of maybe your day-to-day services that you use, maybe like Canva, or maybe you got like a Google Calendar or whatever it is. These AI are increasingly able to integrate into these external systems, and like you can say, hey, go do this thing for me in my email, and it can then connect to your email and do these things. This protocol is what is used across the industry for this kind of stuff. So they're donating this so that way this has become because it really did become a standard that everybody kind of adopted. So now they're donating it to the foundation so that way it's going to be handled in, I guess, a more organized fashion going forward. If they need to make any kind of updates, things like that, maintain it, whatever. All right. So that's really great. This is going to continue to grow. AI agents being able to actually do things on your behalf, that is going to continue to grow. So I expect, again, in this next couple of years, we're going to see more and more of these things and you're going to be able to work with these as little AI employees. All right, let's move on to our next article here. So OpenAI announced that they have some literacy resources for teens and parents. I myself am a parent, so I am keenly aware of these things. So if you want to learn more about this, you can go to like their news, look for AI literacy resources. They have another article here about how they're updating their model spec with teen protections. So there's some things here that they're going through and considering. I think it's important for any kind of parent to definitely take this stuff into consideration. I've talked about this on our Automate Me Please podcast with Mike Jackson and Emma Duncan previously as well. And, I'm generally of the opinion as a tech guy, you should not just blindly throw your children onto the internet. I know my children will not have unfettered access to the internet going forward. And that includes AI, because AI is trained on data from the internet and is also hooked into the internet. So I'm very cautious and very careful about these things. And I think all parents should definitely be, you need to be aware of the things that your children are accessing. So this is going to be interesting. I want to read more about this personally, and I'll have to be thinking about some of this stuff myself as time goes on. Okay, let's move on through our next bit of news. So this was a big one. So OpenAI introduced their GPT 5.2 model. So it's an advanced frontier model for professional work and long-running agents. So that's great, because if you've got things that are going to run long in the background, this is what this is for. So they are introducing their most capable series. Already the average enterprise says AI saves them a certain number of minutes a day. Okay, new state of the art across benchmarks. So they're comparing their 5.2 to 5.1. Okay, knowledge work tasks is up to 70 versus 38. Software engineering is 55% versus 50. That's the Bench Pro public, and then the Bench verified is 80% versus 70%, 76%. Science questions, 92 versus, so I mean, across the board, you can kind of just see scientific figure, competition math, advanced mathematics, abstract reasoning. So, I mean, across the board, it seems to be generally better, which is awesome. So they're seeing an improvement in their long horizon reasoning. So like reasoning over a longer piece of information is my understanding there, where it would have to like think and churn and things like that. So, and then the tool calling performance. So tool calling is super important for anybody who wants the AI to actually do more than just chat back and forth with you. You actually want it to go do things on your behalf. So they're rolling out they rolled out their instant thinking and pro. Okay. Long context understanding, agentic tool calling, and vision, making it better. Okay. So better at vision tasks. So being able to like see an image and recognize what's going on in that image, which is fantastic. Okay. Economically valuable tasks, real world use. Okay. So, okay, it can help with professional work. Speed and cost estimates are based on historical metrics. Speed may vary. So this dark blue is like wins, light blue is ties, as far as like when it's compared to versus industry professional. Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting. So that's one of their tests. So they talk a little bit here about how this GDP val. Okay, it's exciting, noticeable gap in output, quality. Okay, interesting. This was kind of one of the interesting things that they had here that I kind of saw going around in the news. I guess I can't really zoom in on that very well. but they show here like the difference in the quality of the output, like with a spreadsheet, for example. With 5.2, it looks a little prettier. The presentation is nicer versus 5.1. You just had all this data over here. We see like these cap tables, project management. Okay. So you get a little summary box like that versus something that looks a little bit more like this. Okay, interesting. So let's see here. Okay, coding. So their coding seems to be a little better versus their, oh, and even the codex. Interesting. So the codex is like their specialized model for like coding tasks, that kind of thing. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. So they kind of show here, oh, is this actually, oh, I can interact with it. This is cool. So I can change the wave patterns of this thing. I can change the wave height. That's cool. Lighting. I can make it more shimmery. I can go full screen, stuff like that. So this was the prompt: create a single page app in a single HTML file, ocean wave simulation, goal, features. Okay, that's neat. So biggest leap in GPT models since GPT. Okay, state of the art. Coding. Okay, response. Okay, so they've got a lower error rate. Sets new state of the art in long context reasoning. So when you have more, you know, when the way these things work is that when you put in some information and you have this chat, you build up basically a context, this big long chat message. And every time that you want to send a new message, it's actually not just sending your new message. It has to send the old message, the whole previous context with your new message. So that way it kind of knows what the whole conversation is about. So they're saying here that like longer context, it seems to be doing better. Okay, mean match ratio. So the GPT thinking 5.2 is much higher. So practically, this allows professionals to work with long documents such as reports, contracts, research papers, transcripts, and multi-file projects. This is really great for anybody who's dealing with like contracts. Then, like, I mean, all these are great. I mean, that's really, really nice. Lately I've been reading a lot more contracts, and so it's really nice that I can say, hey, could you summarize this contract for me? Or could you tell me if this information is in here or whatever it is? I could ask questions about it, things like that. So let's go through. Okay, so their vision. Okay, strongest vision model yet, cutting error rates down. For everyday professional use, it can be used to accurately interpret dashboards. Very useful. Product screenshots, technical diagrams, also very useful for someone like me. Visual reports, supporting workflows, finance, operations, engineering. Very nice. 88%, almost 89% over the previous 80. Screenshot Pro. So testing on screenshots, it's better on 86% versus 64. Okay. So they're just showing here how it can identify things better in this like image of a computer. That's cool. Tool calling. So it's up a little bit in this telecom tool use, used in customer support. So that's going to be like phone situations, like AI, phone receptionist, that kind of thing. Retail, okay, and customer support is going to be 82% and 77% versus 77 and 62%. Very interesting. Okay. Let's see, what else do they say here? For professionals, translate into longer end-to-end workflows, such as resolving customer support cases, pulling data from multiple systems. Okay. They ask a question about somebody's flight to Paris, and then it gives like more, you can give it more context basically, which is great. All right, so they got some more stuff on science and math, which is good. Advanced mathematics. And you know, I'm sure a lot of this is also empowered by tool calls, like, because it or maybe it's not. Maybe my understanding here is incorrect. I still wouldn't trust it for running mathematics directly. I would probably trust it though to run tool calls to actually like run a calculation basically. Okay, so they got all their stuff. They got some stuff about safety, mental health evaluations, availability and pricing. Okay, so overall, pretty cool. Looks good. And the next kind of thing here, before I move on, I want to take a second here to look at our chat to see if we've got any kind of questions, any comments from anybody. Okay, I'm not seeing anything from you guys. So if you do have any questions or comments, please definitely drop them in the chat. If it's, again, a longer question, you can use that link there that I provided earlier to submit your longer question. Okay, let's move on to our next thing here. So this is related, again, to GPT 5.2, but this is Codex. And so this is specific for coding. So this is their most advanced agentic coding model yet. For complex real-world software engineering. I've been using this a lot lately myself, and I have noticed it has done a fairly good job. I feel like most of the time I'm working. I feel like I'm working with like a mid-level engineer, mid to maybe senior level engineer, and I leverage this stuff for my own use for building out code. I kind of plan out like I would for any kind of project I would lead. I plan out my system. I do my like my flow charts and all that stuff, and then I describe how it is that I want the app to behave, and then I go through and say, okay, go through it. Here are our user stories. I can even tell it to craft the user stories. It does those kinds of things. I use a mix of this and Claude. And then this goes through, reads the user story, updates it, goes through, moves it through the status, implements the thing, runs all my linter tools, my automated tests, all of that, and it iterates on that for me. And then I just go in and I review the code to make sure it's kind of doing what it is that I envision it to do, because it doesn't have, I could just let it loose, but like I have my own vision for how I want the code to be structured, so it's easy to maintain and so on and so forth. So that's kind of been my experience with this so far. I would say, it's been pretty good. I'm actually happy with like the rate limiting on it so far. I haven't run into any major issues. So stronger vision performance allows it to more accurately interpret screenshots, technical diagrams, charts, and UI surfaces during coding sessions. And I would say I would agree with that. I created my own diagram, and I have fed my diagram in several times, and it's been really easy to work with, which is really nice. They can take design mocks, quickly translate them into functional prototypes. Okay, Cyber Frontier. Let's see what they say here. It's not reached high in terms of cyber capability repairing. Okay, what does that mean? Core cybersecurity evaluations over time. Okay, Interesting. So this sounds like this is more about like cybersecurity risks. I'm not sure if that means capture the flag challenges. How often the model can solve advanced multi-step real-world challenges in a Linux environment. Yeah, and it's up there. 88% on that challenge. So, okay, they talk here about it's important. Okay, cybersecurity is important. Vulnerabilities can exist long before anybody knows about them. Okay. Evaluate how, okay. Prompting the model to examine. He shifted to higher volume, iterating prompters. Okay, did not succeed. He guided codecs through standard secure defense security workflow, setting up local test environment, reasoning through potential attacks. Surface unexpected behaviors that warranted deeper investigation. Okay, so it sounds like, you know, the cybersecurity aspect of this is getting better as well. So that's really cool. I think that's super handy, especially from my perspective as a software engineer. You know, I have some sense of like what types of vulnerabilities are kind of out there, what general things I should and should not do. But there's always things that are emerging and things that I'm unaware of. Like my sole job is not cybersecurity, and you could really go deep on that. So I think it's neat that you could get something like that to kind of supplement your capabilities as an engineer. So this is really great. A lot of this stuff is, I think, going to propel a lot of engineers to move a lot faster, which is great for entrepreneurs. So I've been taking advantage of this, and I definitely see the benefit personally. All right, let me see here. Do we have any comments in our chat? No. Do we have any comments or questions in our spreadsheet? No. Okay, great. Let me pause here for a second, guys. I just want to remind you, as we're kind of going through this news, remember, I'm doing a giveaway of Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Money Models, at the end of this live stream. So use that unique link that I have put in the chat. You can also, I think, scan this QR code. I think I've got the right code in that. And go fill out that form. I only give away this book during this live stream, and it is a physical copy. So the only thing is, like, you'd have to pay for the shipping, but you're not paying that to me. You're just paying the shipping company. You're paying USPS or whatever to be able to get that physical copy of this book in your hands. So if you want one of the 9 remaining copies that I have left, then go ahead and fill out that form now while there is still time, and then we will do our giveaway at the end. All right, let's get back to our articles here. Now, this one is something that is really interesting because I kind of briefly saw this, but I had not yet had a chance to mess with it. So OpenAI announced that the new ChatGPT images is here. So let's see here. They've got this example here. Okay, so they're showing all the different like hairstyles that this person has. Okay, different styling for the individual, different poses, backgrounds, adding in people, changing settings, style. Wow, that's pretty cool. And, oh, we're about halfway through this video and it's loading. So I don't know if we're going to be able to see any more of this. But that's okay. That's okay. What we'll do is we'll just close this down and we'll kind of go through this article real quick. So it's powered by their flagship image generation model, whether you're creating something from scratch or editing. You get the output. You're structuring. It makes precise edits while keeping details intact. Okay. Now we're introducing images feature. Let me see that. Oh, okay. So there's actually like a whole thing here for describing your images. Okay, designed to make, and it's within ChatGPT, so it doesn't look like you have to go out to this separate thing. Make image generation delightful. Oh, very nice. To spark inspiration. Okay. Images experience is also rolling out today for most users. Precise edits. Okay, when you ask for edits, it adheres to your intent down to small details. Unblocks results that match your intent. More useful photo edits. Believable clothing, hairstyle try-ons, stylistic filters, and conceptual transformations. Okay, very interesting. Editing. So okay. So they've got these individuals in here and a dog. Combine 2 men and the dog in 2000. Make okay, them looking bored at a kid's birthday party. Okay, very interesting. Add chaotic kids in the background. That's pretty good. Okay, change the man. Okay, so they're changing the guy on the left to retro anime style, plushy dog. Add okay, make them wear sweaters. Now remove the 2 men, keep the dog, put them in an open. Wow, this is cool. Okay, so the iteration on this is definitely a lot better. And one practical use case that I really like this kind of stuff for is like logo generation. Honestly, doing like logo generation, doing thumbnails for videos. This kind of stuff would be really helpful for those types of things. You can get really creative and even have the AI help you brainstorm and come up with various ideas. So the fact that you can narrow it down, that's really handy. So I'm pretty pleased with that. That's really nice. Let's see, what else do they say? Creative transformations. Okay, add elements, text layout, bring ideas to life. Okay, transformations work both simple, intricate concepts. Try preset styles. Oh, interesting. So they've got him down here. Okay. Movie poster. You have them here. Oh, that's cool. Wow, that's really neat. Glam doll. Okay. Ornament. Fashion ad. Dress up character. Painting. Oh, that's cool. Drink ad. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, instruction following. Follows instruction more reliably than our initial version. More precise edits. More intricate. Okay. Original compositions where relationships are preserved. So they've got an example here of draw a 6x6 grid. Okay, so they're saying, oh, well, this is where all these items go in this grid. Okay, previous. A lemon, a robot. Okay, so that definitely looks more like a grid. Okay, text rendering. Another step ahead in text rendering. So that's cool. So you can make it look like there's a real paper with actual stuff on it. Okay, preserve all content formatting numbers exactly. And so then they give it the content and they make it look like that. Wow, that is pretty good. That's really good. Man, it wasn't, but it's only been just a few years. The text was really bad. Even earlier this year, we were just starting to see some of this text and images get better. And now it's like, man, that's on point. Like, that's really, really good. I'm really impressed by this. I mean, this means that doing things like logos, anything that involves text, styles that have text, banners, anything like that, like this kind of stuff is now very feasible. Oh, change the article to markdown below. Okay, so now they want to say, hey, preserve the style and just update the information. Okay, so you can see here they have the benchmarks and now they swap that out. Wow, that is good. Okay, additional quality improvements. Okay, additional dimensions that translate more immediately to useful outputs. Okay. Let's see here. Advertise for image gen 1.5. Okay, so previously this is what it would look like. And you can see it kind of got off. You can kind of see it. Okay. Okay, so rendering many small faces and how natural outputs look. So those smaller faces, I guess it would struggle with, and now this looks a lot better with the smaller faces and things. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Let's see. Oh, here's an example of many small faces. So, okay, I guess it does look a little bit better there. Let's see. Diver playing the piano. Yeah, that looks way more realistic. And this looks I don't know how to put this other than it looks like a painting-ish kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Photo with a glare. So there's your glare. So that doesn't quite look like a glare, but that glare looks more okay. That's great. Okay, so new creation space, describing what you'd like to see in a message. We're dedicating, okay, a dedicated home for images in ChatGPT, available in the sidebar through the mobile app and on chatgpt.com. Okay. Preset filters. So they've got a lot of these preset can I go back? Okay. So you go through, you choose your photo, and then I guess you just choose the pre-filter, which basically has the giant like prompt for you. So that makes a lot, that's very interesting. Okay. Improvements, limitations. Let's see. Our initial image generation launched to evaluate performance. Model shows clear improvements across a range of cases. Results remain imperfect. It's meaningful progress. There's still significant room. So like, here's our previous one. Still some scientific inaccuracies, but 70% correct and much more vivid graphics. Avoid premature cropping. I see. So it cropped it off. It cut it off at the bottom, and now on this, you actually get the full thing, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So there's some things which are not quite accurate, obviously, but okay. The API delivers same improvements. You can try the model in the playground. Wix. Okay, including creative tools, e-commerce, marketing. Okay. Prompt guide for inspiration. Okay, so they have a prompt guide to help inspire you. You can look at the gallery, things like that. Yeah, I mean, you can see that looks not like exactly a real person. Like if you look at it long enough, you've kind of seen some of these images, you can tell that's not exactly a real person. Maybe most people who haven't seen much AI and distinguished it, maybe they wouldn't be able to tell as easily. But this looks much more real to me. And some of that's like the lighting. Like you can tell when you look at him, like the lighting on the forehead and stuff is just like the lighting there. All that stuff is better. Here it's like kind of matted. Like you don't see any light, really much light reflection. There's a little bit in there. Like there's some shadow, but that is, I mean, you got light coming off of that. The shadows are looking better. Like this looks more realistic, which is really impressive. That obviously doesn't look realistic. That looks a lot more realistic. Wow. Yeah, you can tell in the grapes. Wow. Okay. Okay, so that is out. That is really, really impressive. I'm just impressed by that. Man, we've come a long way in just a short period of time. Okay, do we have any comments in our chat? No comments in our chat. No questions in our forum. If you do have comments, if you got questions, drop them inside of the chat and let me know. If you want to get a copy of Alex Hormozi's book, I only have 9 left. Don't forget to go fill out that form before this is over. I only give this away during this live stream. You do use a unique code every time. So if that's something that you want, go check that out now. Go fill that out now, and we'll be announcing that at the end. We're coming up close to our time here, so it looks like we're probably going to hit around 7-ish. Yeah, maybe 5. Maybe another 10 minutes-ish. So we'll probably wrap it up before 7. And if you want a copy, by the way, you don't have to pay for anything except the shipping. So I'm not making you any money from that. Again, that just goes straight to UPS or USPS or whoever it is that's shipping the book to you. So, all right, let's get back to our articles. Let's kind of work our way through it. So that's that images. Okay, so this was a much bigger one that I wanted to dig into this a little bit in more detail. So I think it's kind of, again, I think it's helpful for small business owners, for investors, if they kind of know where things are headed. What is the state of things in enterprise? Like how are these bigger companies adopting these things? And in some ways, smaller companies can move a little faster on some of these things, and bigger companies tend to take it takes a little longer because they got to roll it out. They got to verify that it's working properly, all these things. There's cost involved, but at some point, they kind of catch on and it speeds up. And so you really need to be getting ahead on this and figuring out how you can incorporate this stuff into your own business or into your own investing. So ChatGPT now serves more than 800 million users every week. This rapid consumer adoption created a powerful flywheel, accelerating the pace of AI being brought into work and professional settings. History of general purpose technologies from steam engines to semiconductors shows that significant economic value is created after firms translate underlying capabilities into scaled use cases. Enterprise AI now appears to be entering this phase, and I would agree with that. Today, we're excited to introduce the State of Enterprise AI report. For the first time, we're sharing a comprehensive look into how enterprises are adopting AI, what the workers say they're gaining, and how organizational leaders are turning experimentation into measurable productivity and new capabilities. This analysis draws on two novel sources of data, real-world usage from enterprise customers of OpenAI, an OpenAI survey of 9,000 workers across 100 enterprises documenting patterns of AI adoption. Okay, adoption is accelerating and deepening. Picture that emerges is clear. Enterprise adoption is accelerating not just in breadth, but in depth. It is reshaping how people work, how teams collaborate, and how organizations build and deliver products. Absolutely it is. I'm doing this right now in a startup that I'm working with right now, and we're rapidly moving things forward. I use it every single day. I use it for research. I use it for software development. I use it for I use it to help me like pull out relevant information from documents. Like I use it for a lot of stuff. I've used it for generating temporary logos. There's a lot of stuff that this is being used for. And I'm probably only scratching the surface of what it could be. So over the past year, weekly messages increased roughly 8 times. The average worker sending 30% more message. Usage of structured workflows such as projects, custom GPTs has increased 19 times year to date, showing a shift from casual querying to integrated, repeatable processes. Yes, 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 that's what you want. You want to be able to leverage these things for your workflow specifically. So average reasoning token consumption has increased by 320 times in the past 12 months, suggesting more intelligent models are systemically integrated into expanding products and services. So more and more companies are integrating this into their services. So people are using it more often and increasingly sophisticated tasks. Yes, absolutely, because the models are getting better. The ecosystem around, like the tooling around this stuff is getting better while the models get better. And so you can do more things. There are more people building tools around these things, and then the AI gets better and then can use the tools in a better way. And so it's a compounding effect. So I expect it to keep going that way. Okay, enterprises are expanding both extensive margin, more work is adopting AI, and intensive margin, existing users going deeper. Yes. Growth is rapid across industries and geographies. It's gaining traction in every sector, especially strong momentum in technology, healthcare, manufacturing, fastest growing sectors, professional services, finance, technology, which operate at the largest scale. Globally, fastest growing business customer bases include Australia, Brazil, the Netherlands, and France, exceeding 140% year-over-year growth. International API consumer growth has exceeded 70% in the last 6 months, with Japan having the largest number of corporate API customers outside the US. Okay. Workers report measurable value. 75% of workers report that AI work has either improved speed or quality of their output. Workers saving 40 to 60 minutes a day. Heavy users more than 10 hours a week. Workers report AI is contributing 87% to IT workers report faster IT issue resolution. Yeah, because a lot of times, like, there's a problem and you don't know what it is that is causing the problem, or you got to go research a solution. Sometimes things are very repeatable, but there are a lot of things that are like weird edge cases, and being able to like look up information quickly. Like, for example, I do this a lot with when I'm researching tech and I'm trying to plan out. I mean, I just was doing this with a recent project. I needed to be able to quickly compile a bunch of things together, and I kind of knew some of the things I needed, but there were some things I hadn't messed with in a while, like on like deploying the software. Tooling is better than it was a couple years ago. And so I'm trying to get up to speed quickly and choose the best solution. And so I was able to like run this and go find a bunch of relevant information and ask questions. And I was able to knock it out very, very quickly compared to what I would have had to do a couple of years ago just to be able to make a decision. So I totally see that when I run into issues. being able to ask questions and like have it analyze the problem and stuff like that's far better than having to Google, like go Google something or go use a search engine and then have to look through every single article to try to piece together what's going on. It's just, I get that. That makes so much sense. 85% of marketing product user report faster campaign execution. Absolutely. 75% of HR professionals report improved employee engagement. I could see that. 73% of engineers report faster code delivery. Heck yes, I'm moving so much faster right now than I used to. I mean, I basically have a bunch of AI employees working for me, like mid to senior level engineers kind of cranking out code, and I'm just doing the reviews and pointing it in the right direction. So crucially, AI is not just helping people do the same work faster, it enables people to do new kinds of work. Fully agree with this. For someone, like, simple example, like if you want to write a book and you've never written a book and you want to, you kind of know what pictures you would want in your book, but you're not an artist. You can have it generate those things, right? Coding related messages increased 6% of workers outside of technical functions. I'm seeing this definitely. I think people still will have a hard time with some of this, like just because you don't realize to write a piece of software. Most people don't realize that to write a piece of software, it requires a lot of in-depth knowledge, and you have to have knowledge of all these different tools and all these different pieces to make sure the thing is delivered. But for very simple things, yeah, like this is a great use case. Like if you just want to throw together a little sample app to sift through some data, like a dashboard or something, this is really great for people like that. It lowers that barrier to entry just to be able to move forward. So yeah, that's totally, I think that's fantastic. 75% of users report being able to complete new tasks that they previously could not perform. Yep. AI reduces the gap between intent and execution. Individuals can translate ideas into concrete outputs regardless of their specialization or technical expertise. Yes. This lowers the barrier to entry for a lot of people into a lot of different domains. And so this is really important. This is what I've noticed. I mean, I've just noticed it for myself in a lot of different things. So I totally, that totally makes sense. Frontier users and organizations are pulling ahead. Our data shows widening gap between frontier workers and firms and the median. Frontier workers, 95 percentile, 6 times more messages than the median employee. Okay. Frontier firms, 2x more messages per seat, deeper integration of AI across teams. Patterns are meaningful given time savings. Okay, it's evolving rapidly. OpenAI releases a new feature capability every 3 days. Yeah. So I could definitely see this. The people who are going to pull ahead the fastest are the people who start really learning these tools well. And in my opinion, it's actually going to be the people who aren't just relying, like, it's one thing to use a tool that has AI integrated into it. It's another thing entirely for you to be able to like craft your own AI employee, like your own AI agent, give it the tools that you want it to run, and then give it really custom things. Like, from my perspective with a lot of this stuff, I mean, you could basically, as an entrepreneur, if you could go learn a little bit of it still might be a little more difficult for somebody who doesn't know how to code, but you could go learn a little bit of stuff about a terminal and how to spin up like one of these agents in the terminal and how to maybe have it code you out a dashboard or something and spin it up and you run it. Or, you hook it up to a couple tools and then you have it go do things. I mean, you could build out a team. You basically build out a team for a very low cost relative to what it would have normally cost you to hire on employees and then get them all trained. You might not be able to do this for everything, but for a lot of things, I think you could figure out how to automate these things. And the people I think who are gonna really pull ahead are the people who sit down to figure this stuff out, who figure out how to leverage this in their workflows day to day the most, and the people who figure out how to delegate. If you can learn how to delegate, you can learn how to automate a little, man, you're gonna be in a good spot. Looking ahead, AI reshaping the modern enterprise. Okay. Designed to do more than describe how it's changing, meant to help organizations deploy more effectively based on real-world data, report benchmarks. Okay. We encourage executives, operators, builders to read the report, engage with underlying insights. We welcome feedback. Okay, great. So yeah, this was really good. I was glad to see all of that. I agree with a lot of those things. I've experienced a lot of the things that they mention in that report. Okay. I'm not seeing any new chat messages, so we're going to just move on to our next article here. So Google has dropped a couple of things in their Gemini suite. So first of all, Gemini 3 is their biggest model upgrade yet, delivering next generation intelligence at lightning speed, now available globally. So they dropped this new very fast model, Frontier Intelligence, built for speed, fraction of the cost, so it's low cost. Okay, that's great. They had their Gemini 3 Pro deep think mode that they had previously launched. Okay, so Frontier Intelligence at scale. So they compare it to like Claude, Claude Sonnet, GPT. Okay, and this is 3.5 Flash. This is a thinking model too. Very nice. Looks like Grok is still the lowest, but I mean this is very competitive, which is very, very nice. Let's see, how does it compare? I mean it's, wait, did it beat? Okay, no, there it's less than the Pro, but it's better than Sonnet on a good chunk of things here. Man, Google's just killing it, you guys. Like, they really, man, I think Google's pulling up fast on all these guys, and having their own infrastructure was really helping them. Like, because they have those tensor processing units, it makes the training for their stuff, they own it, they can control it, they can customize it. Okay, so it's got frontier level reasoning, multimodal, which means it can do like text, images, sound, things like that, built to be highly efficient. When processing, highest thinking level, able to modulate how much it thinks. Think longer for more complex. Also uses 30% fewer tokens than 2.5 Pro, which is great. That's their previous Pro model. Oh, they're just showing how fast it took to go through it versus their Pro. Its strength lies in raw speed. That's funny. Okay. Developers, intelligence that keeps up. Very nice. Rolling out to everyone. Well done, Google. I love to see this. I love to see those updates. So they've announced that Flash model. That's exciting. One of the other things they announced here was with Nano Banana, you can customize your images a little bit more. So Nano Banana is a fantastic image generator. You can use your finger or cursor to draw, circle, annotate directly on the image to tell Gemini where you want to make changes. And so they've got, not this article. Oh, did I think I moved it to the wrong place. Okay, so here's that example. So they're just they're just showing you how you can draw in like certain areas and stuff, and you can scribble it out and then say, hey, put a person in that space right there. Very, very clever. I like that. That's good. They really needed that to be able to do all those kinds of things. I mean, Nano Banana was already really good. So to be able to like more specifically change how you want an image, that's going to be great. It's good for marketing. It's good for all sorts of tools like that and use cases like that. They announced that with Notebook LM and Gemini, you can now add notebooks as sources. So, oh, interesting. So in your Gemini app, you can pull in those notebooks as sources, combine them with notes, research, and more grounded responses. That's fantastic. Deep research reports include visuals for Ultra users. I am not an Ultra user, but if you are, then you can get excited about that. Local resorts are now visual with photos, ratings, real world info from Google Maps. Okay, cool. I think this is the visual reports from your research assistant, like for the deep research. That's cool. So lots of really, really nice stuff. Oh, they had a whole video here and I didn't even see that. So there you go. If you want to go watch this, you can go watch it. You just go look up some of the Gemini drop for December 2025. So yeah, okay, there you go. So they show the whole thing. All right. Let's see. Do we have any comments, any questions? No. Okay, don't forget. We're coming to the end here. And if you want a chance to win one of the 9 remaining copies of Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Money Models, then go ahead and fill out the form now. I've got that link in the chat on YouTube and Facebook. I've got the QR code here. I think that's the right QR code. Hopefully I didn't mess it up. You go fill that out. I only give away that book during this live stream with the unique link that's on here. So if you fill it out later, you're not going to get a chance to win it. You only pay, if you win, you only pay for the shipping. You're not paying me, you're paying the shipping company for it. It's a physical copy of this book, and I am only giving away 9 more during these live streams. And then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my copies that I have. So we'll see. Anyways, let's move on to some of the last couple topics here. And then I think we're going to call it, I don't think we're going to go through because it's kind of late. I think we're going to skip going over the tools this evening and we'll just call it at the news. We're coming up on Christmas. I'm sure everyone's busy, so we'll move forward. Okay. Now, this one is kind of techie, but I think it's helpful for folks who just kind of want to know, again, what's coming up in the future. So Google announced this thing called Function Gemma. So it brings function calling to the edge. And what does this mean for you guys? So the short and skinny of this is that Google has this Gemma 3 model, which is a very small, it's a model that's small enough to run on a mobile device like a phone. And so the challenge with these things is that, at least until more recently, like, you know, you can only, like, if they were small, they weren't that smart. And then if you want them to actually do things that they didn't really operate that well, this is getting better and better. We're at the point now where we're starting to see these smaller models are really kind of just trailing behind the much larger models a little bit. And so, you know, what you see in the larger models, the capabilities, the things they can do, it's just a little bit, you know, down the path for on-device models. And when we start to see, I think when we really start to see these smaller models kind of get to where about, you know, approaching where we're at right now with the larger models, like man, like it's going to be incredible, because that means that you can take these smaller models, they consume less power. You can run them on device. You could run them on your laptop directly. You can run them on your phone. You can run them, in like a more private setting. You don't have to ship your data out to a server somewhere to get helpful insights or have them actually do things for you. And so this is kind of a step in that direction. This Function Gemma article is all about basically how they are customizing. They're saying, hey, since they launched this thing, and I forget exactly when it was just a few months ago though. The number one request we've received from developers for native function calling capabilities. So this is again like tool calling. We listened, recognizing that the industry shifts from purely conversational interfaces to active agents. Models need to do more than just talk. They need to act. This is a compelling on-device where agents can automate complex multi-step workflows, from setting reminders to toggling system settings to enable this at the edge. That means like on a phone, not on a server, or on a laptop. Models must be lightweight enough to run locally and specialized enough to be reliable. So they're releasing Function Gemma, specialized, tuned for function calling. It is designed strong base for further training into custom, fast, private, local agents. This is massive. Translate natural language into executable API actions. So you talk to it, it does the thing for you. Basically, an AI AI agent that's running on your device. This is massive. This is really massive. Now the question is going to be, how well does this perform? So, they have some stuff here. Function Gemma, the 200, okay, the base, and now the fine-tuned Function Gemma. Okay, let's see what makes it unique. Knows how to talk to computers and humans, can generate structured function calls. Yep. Okay, built for customization. Okay, fine-tuning, boosted accuracy from 58% to 85% accuracy. For edge agents, a dedicated trained specialist is an efficient path, okay, for production-grade performance. Small enough to run on edge devices like the NVIDIA Jetson Nano, mobile phones, model. Okay. So let's see, do they have any more information here? So they have a couple of examples here that they gave. So like, you want to say, hey, AI employee or AI agent, create a calendar event for lunch tomorrow, add John to my contacts, turn on the flashlight. It can identify what to do, and then it can do the thing. So it's just kind of showing you here what you can do there. They have this game demo, which I thought was super interesting. So you can make this an interactive mini game. You can say, plant sunflowers on the top row and water them. The model decomposes this into specific function calls, and then it does the thing. So look at it, it just goes. And this is really fantastic. Okay, natural language. Okay, so this is in a browser. Here's another example. So this game runs 100% in your browser. And it's using Function Gemma and transformers to actually like do things. So I guess you give it like a command and then it is able to do the thing. Wow, that is really, really incredible. I wish they had, I wonder if there's like some performance information somewhere that would be, I'd like to see how it compares across some of these things. But this is the future. This is where AI employees are headed in the long run. I think we'll see what we'll see is probably very complex AI employees or AI agents running off on a server somewhere and you're interacting with them and you're asking them to do things. And then for things that are more, maybe more simple, you might run some of these things locally, or if you need something private, ideally, like I think we'll eventually get to the point, I think, where you can run the stuff privately and you don't have to worry about shipping your data out to people. So I love what Google is doing here. This is really, really great. Okay. I think that is it for all of, oh no, there is one more thing. And there's one more thing. And this one was really cool. So there's this thing called Stitch. You can go to like stitch.withgoogle.com. And Stitch lets you like craft like web pages, mobile pages like that for prototyping design, and it's really, really nice. So I thought it did a pretty good job before. It's been a bit since I last played with it. It's kind of like an experimental thing. So one of the things that they did is they say that they're bringing the power of Gemini 3 to Stitch. It means a higher quality UI generation, which is awesome. Introducing a new feature called prototypes. True to the name, you can now stitch together different screens on your canvas to create working prototype. That is cool. Building on static screens, you can now design interactions in your entire user flows. This is fantastic. And part of why I like this is because you can also export the code on this. So if you want to be able to just see some quick stuff and get some feedback, boom, there you go. You run this through and you get some nice visuals. So, all right, that is going to be it for our main segment on the news today. Normally we might go over like tools, but we had a lot more news because it's been a couple weeks. So I think we'll just kind of end it with the news this evening. But before we go, as I promised, I need to give away a copy of Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Money Models. As I promised, I'm giving away up to 9. There's only 9 left that I'm giving away during these live streams. So, you know, it is what it is. And if you're here and you submit during your form entry during the live stream, then you have a chance to win. And if not, then you will not get a chance to win. So let me go ahead and pull up. I'm not going to get all fancy with this. I don't have my AI pulled up today because it was having some problems. So I'm just going to kind of go through here, and I suspect we don't have more than 9 entries. If we do, I'll have to somehow spin something up and get it going here. So let's look for today. Confirm. Okay, guys. So let me reload the page, make sure I didn't miss anybody. All right, so looking at our submissions for today, we have 0 entries for today. So if you got in and you were like, oh man, I really wanted to win a copy, well, this week is not your week, but do not fear, because we will be back next week doing our AI news, Q&A, and tool review. So if you want a chance to win a copy of Alex Hormozi's book, then come by next week during our live stream, and then you will have the opportunity to enter. All right. Before we go, I see a comment just kind of came in. Money through mining industries where they use 10-wheeler trucks automation. For example, can we make money through mining industries where they use wheeler trucks automation? So the way your question is phrased, I might be a little confused by that. Are you asking if we could automate things in that industry, in the mining industry, with AI? That's kind of what that sounds like to me. I think if that's your question, if I understood, okay, good. So, yeah, I would say definitely, like any kind of business that uses uses a computer in some way, you can automate it, right? Like, as long as you can take a task and you can break down your task into some set of steps. And if that involves a computer in some way, then you can create an automation around it. The question is, does it make more sense for it to be a traditional automation, or does it make more sense to be an AI? Because not everything should be AI. Some things make more sense as a standard automation that follows some set of steps over and over again in the exact same way. Where you want to think about using AI is going to be where things might vary a little bit. So, for example, if you need to write an email, right? Like, let's say you have customers that have different needs, or like support or something like that. That varies, right? As far as maybe the problems that they're running into. So maybe you have a slightly different email that goes out. But a part of those processes might be very standard. So like, let's say somebody submits a ticket to you. They say, hey, I've got this kind of issue with, let's use your example here of a mining industry and using 10-wheeler trucks. What if, for example, you're doing maintenance on those trucks and somebody is like, hey, I've got a problem, and they submit a ticket for their truck to get worked on. Well, in a case like that, maybe you have a standard automation that says, hey, like, this is our, we received your email. We noticed that you mentioned these things, like, so there's a very specific structure, right? Like, they send back your question to show that, hey, they've got it on hand. But then maybe the next step in that is to have the AI reach out and then ask for more details if it sees that there's stuff missing. So like, you just have to be thoughtful about how you implement AI versus a traditional automation. But I would say definitely, again, anywhere that you have a computer at work somewhere, any kind of like computer interface, mobile phone interface, anything like that, you could definitely use AI in something like that. I'm not sure if there's compliance issues that you have to worry about in that industry. If there's compliance issues, that's a whole nother set of problems you have to consider. But I think it's Satyana, I think, if I'm pronouncing that right. I hope that answers your question. If you've got any more questions, drop that in the chat before I hang it, because I'm going to go in just a second otherwise. But I love answering your questions if you've got them. Let me see if we've got any other questions on the Facebook side as well, because I want to make sure we get to everybody's questions. Oh, okay. So Satyana said the drivers lie and they steal diesel of owners. Interesting. So they steal the diesel of the owners. That's an interesting problem. For something like that, I almost would, if you were trying to solve that problem, I almost think you could probably, you might not need AI for this, but I mean, maybe AI could be helpful if you had some kind of tracking mechanism to track the data around the diesel that is being used in the vehicles. Like, for example, if somebody's bringing in the truck, and you fill up that truck with diesel, you might track that as data and then compare that to maybe like the driving records of how far somebody drove. And then you can kind of see, well, like, is there a spread there that is reasonable, or is the spread of the difference between the average amount that you would expect and what is actually there, is that large enough to identify a potential problem? So that might be a good way to deal with something like that. I live near I don't know how to pronounce that, bauxite aluminum factory. I think I may have an advantage. Oh, very interesting. There are many big companies under the aluminum company. Very interesting. Yeah, and I think if you just take a little bit of time to learn some of these tools, try to figure out first of all, you gotta get familiar with some of these tools, right? Like, because there's a lot of these tools, but there's a lot of ways you could use these things. You can use them for marketing, for advertising, like writing copy, for example, for an ad, or generating a picture for an ad, for crafting emails, for helping you with PR like statements. You could obviously create automations and things like that, and add them to your operations workflows. So there's, I think, tons of opportunities. What you want to look for is inefficiencies, or things that take a lot of time, or things that somebody is likely to mess up. If something that's caused by user error, right? Those are opportunities that are ripe for automation, for AI, things like that. So, all right, I got to drop off for the evening. I'm going to go spend some time with my family. Thank you guys for coming. Great questions there, Satyana. I appreciate you dropping those questions and comments in the chat. You came a little bit towards the end here, so I don't know if you wanted a copy of that book. If you did, make sure you come back next week, because I only give away the book during the live stream. Once I've already looked to see if anybody submitted, then I cut it off for the evening. But we have 9 copies of that book left over to give, and so we do that every week. Thank you guys again for coming. It was fantastic. A lot of news to go through today. I feel like we got caught up, but next week we might have a whole nother slew of it. So we'll see. All right, I'm going to end it here. Thanks again, and take it easy, guys.